Welcome to another episode of YouTube. It's January the 18th, and today I'm going to be analyzing the price of Bitcoin as well as a handful of altcoins. If that sounds good to you guys, smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and with that, let's get it. Starting things off here, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin price here. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this triangle being pointed out by other analysts. What I would really like to see right now, being we have this, I'm going to count this as one touch point, two touch points. I would like a third touch point, and any time now would actually keep everything spread out quite evenly, which I love to see 3 even touch points. And after that, is when I would like to see this pattern break out. So we get our third touch point, breakout, get our confirmed retest along old resistance turning into support, get our flip, and carry on to the upside from there. To me, this pattern does look a little more like a continuation consolidation pattern rather than a reversal. That being said, guys, always keep it on your radar that this triangle could break to the downside. If it does break down, you'll see that I do have this purple trend line forming here. And I would not be surprised if that actually ended up saving us if we do break down. I really am not too sure if we'll get a full measured move of this triangle breaking down if we do lose support of that green trend line. But we're going to have to see how that plays out because right now we are still respecting this green triangle. Another thing to watch for if we do break bearishly to the downside, let's say this purple line doesn't hold either, we may be forming some sort of more of a descending triangle, something like this for a bit of a base. And let's say that our trend line here just kind of carried on downward. And we just kind of coil up in here and eventually after our 3 touch points and break to the downside. And that could end up being a bit of a reversal pattern. So I don't want to rule that out, guys. These market conditions are extremely high risk. Emotions are at an all-time high with the price, so I mean things could really go either way. Even if this is a reversal, I'm not saying that I think it's the end of the bull run or anything like that. You guys know my macro analysis is very bullish, and I am going to remain being bullish for now. I really think most of 2021 is going to be a very powerful bull trend. We're going to have to see. And obviously there will be those heinous, violent pullbacks of 20, 30, 40%, maybe even a few weeks of straight downside price action and stuff like that. But there's a lot of ifs between now and then. So right now, just looking at the chart for what it is, I am paying attention to this green triangle on the 4-hour chart. And then again, if we lose support there, this purple trend line and eventually this horizontal trend line. That's just, you can see here, I actually pointed it out in a video when I took a trade down here, calling this reversal back up to the upside, and how we were respecting, this wick here, and this cluster here as old resistance flipping into new support. So that would absolutely make sense that somewhere around this green horizontal line, probably be a little more accurate if I drew some sort of a support box. Something like that, but whatever, it's that general area. So that's kind of what I'm watching for on Bitcoin's 4-hour chart. Zooming right into the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin, you can see here I have this little bit of a yellow wedge. I don't want to give it too much credit. It's not a super accurate pattern. I mean, we do have 1 touch point, 2 touch points, we got our 3 touch points. You can see here we had our bit of a fake out, but dropped back down, but we did continue to respect it after that. Even when we broke out of it that second time, you can see we began trusting it as a bit of a support flip there. So, I mean, maybe it is still valid. I'm not sure. Looking at this, we just have, oh, sorry about that. Let's just say we have this little bit of almost like a rising wedge type thing, just a very tight coiling little range here. Kind of looks like our support's struggling right now, so if we do drop this trend line, this is a very micro move and it's hard to predict exactly what will happen, but I wouldn't be surprised to see us continue testing this downward sloping yellow wedge that I have drawn. We'll have to see how that goes, obviously, but hopefully it'll just pump to the upside. Jumping over to Ethereum, you can see we have something very similar, but I want to talk to you guys about yesterday in my video. I had pointed out that Ethereum on the 15-minute chart here broke this downward sloping red trend line, had this bit of a channel forming, and we did get up to the upside, and I had mentioned it that near the end of my video that I didn't even know if I was still in my trade because it looked like I was very close to my stop loss, and I believe it was this green trend line. I had erased it after the video, but I think it was somewhere around there. I didn't even check my previous video to double check, but either way, you can see that we did dump, so I did get stopped out of that trade. It was break even. And then I pointed out on Twitter actually this morning that I entered a perfect position on Ethereum at this blue line here. And basically what led me to take a position there is that I know in my video last night I had pointed out we had this little bit of a double bottom kind of in this area here, and I had mapped out this green box. Well, all I did last night before bed is I extended it, and right where that green box lined up with this downward sloping red trend line, I was very interested in that key level, looking as a support flip, as well as just retesting that little bit of a double bottom range and getting more of a proper spread out double bottom, because this one back here is obviously very clustered together. But I was not ruling it out that we would retest this box, so I did end up putting a position in there, because not only were we dropping towards that level, but you can see that the RSI was on a downtrend. So I was thinking that if it ends up getting near oversold near that area, that I would love to have a bit of a position. I actually had a second position laddered in at the bottom of this green box, which unfortunately never did fill, but this one right here was such a perfect entry, I can't really complain there. You can see that the RSI did in fact go very slightly oversold, and as well my momentum indicator there went a little bit oversold as well, and flashing a potential bullish pivot point. So all those things really lining up. I mean, had I actually been awake for this, I probably would have traded it a little heavier because I had so many things lining up to how I had everything mapped out. But being I was sleeping, I never did see exactly how my indicators were reacting, so I just had my half a position entered there while I was sleeping, and by the time I woke up, I can't remember exactly where I was, but kind of in this general area. So as we pumped up closer towards this green downward sloping trend line that I have mapped out, you guys know I love getting a third touch point on all my trend lines, being we were getting very close, which we did actually end up getting, but we were getting very close, so I did lock in a quarter of my position up here at about 1250. Entered from 1185, so let's just take a price measurement. This was a 5x trade, so you can see here that that was about 25% profit right there on a quarter of my position, and the rest is remaining with a stop loss somewhere just below this. I'm going to call it a neckline or a baseline, whatever, but just somewhere below this structure here, I'll get stopped out for the rest of my profits. It'll be a small profit if it happens, but whatever, profits are better than a loss, so I want to just maintain my risk management properly, you guys. After this, I'm going to hop over to the Link USD chart. On the 4-hour chart here, I know I've pointed this out and I've mentioned that I had taken a bit of a hodl position on Link. My main reasoning for starting a hodl position in Link is one, as my video last night stated, I just wanted to kind of start diversifying into altcoins, and I had mentioned that there's a lot of hype around this coin. Everyone just seems really stoked on it. As well, it's already in all-time highs for this market cycle, and it's in price discovery mode. We've seen what Bitcoin has done in that. We've seen what Tesla has done with that. Basically, any asset, when you get a proper breakout of all-time highs and start respecting resistance as new support, which hopefully is what we are doing over here, the prices can just really exponentially grow. So that's just one of the altcoins that I chose. One thing that I don't really like about this is these purple trend lines. It's very rough. We have our one touch point. These are obviously super spread out, and we do actually have another red touch point here. So I do have 3 touch points, but kind of as I was mentioning earlier, it's not spread out nicely at all. So, I mean, we do still have closes above our horizontal resistance. So, I mean, that is looking good from the technical point of view. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'm in no rush to exit these hodl positions. These are more, I'm looking for a market cycle move, guys. As I pointed out last night with risk management, these altcoins are higher risk. Most of my investments are in Bitcoin and Ethereum rather than these smaller cap coins, just because there's a lot more risk. I know a lot of people think that, oh, they're so cheap that, you know, the gains are going to be so much more. That's not necessarily a thing, although I do think that most altcoins will outperform Bitcoin eventually. Um, just kind of waiting for those confirmations, guys. They don't have to. Nothing has to happen in trading. Kind of going back to my CME gap theories and that sort of stuff. You guys know that I'm very set on my impression, or set in my ways of just really kind of trying to drill this into your guys' head that nothing in the charts has to happen. We just look at our possibilities, our probabilities, we weigh out our odds on each trade and go from there. So anything, I'm looking at altcoins as a bit of a boom or bust. It's just a small percentage of my portfolio. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely hope they explode and just outperform Bitcoin by miles, but it just doesn't have to happen, guys. So always keep that in mind. Another thing from a technical point of view here is you guys know that quite often when I point out a pattern break, I'll look for some sort of a channel. And I just want to point this out to you. If I look at these local tops here, kind of go down to that wick there, um, and just kind of extend this further. I'm still lining up the top perfectly. Look how much we respected the shit out of the bottom of this channel way back here. So just the fact that, and I know this is obviously down here, that's a way smaller price movement and that sort of stuff, but you can just see how the bottom of this channel is being respected so religiously here. And as well, we have, if we just extend it to the top of this point, we did end up finding resistance along that parallel channel. So that's just something to keep on your radar as a potential risk factor. Not saying that this channel has to play out or anything. It is just something good to be aware of, potential reversal points in the chart, right, guys? You just want to always be aware of the risks that are on the table in front of you. Next one I want to talk to you guys about is Polkadot. And basically, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I had pointed out that I was looking for a bit of a double bottom in this green box. I said it wasn't verified yet, and you can see here that we absolutely just blew through it to the downside. Interesting thing to notice, though, is you can see that the box was even respected back here as well, this wick perfectly. And you can see that now we even got back up into the green box, so that might have been a bit of a fake out to the downside. And I mean, I was expecting this bit of a reversal to the upside on DOT just because the RSI is getting so oversold, as well as my momentum indicator. You can see there that we got a bullish pivot point very close to the bottom of this indicator, so something to consider. I don't know if this green box is going to hold or anything. I haven't done a ton of analysis on these altcoins, guys. You guys know that it's very new for my investments here and my trading to be looking at altcoins. So I'm not trading these with leverage or anything like that. I'm really just looking at them for fun and just for my own amusement, guys. So just something to keep in mind. But really nothing would surprise me here. I wouldn't be too surprised if we get a further pullback to the downside, but at this point, if we get some sort of a bounce back into this green box and then eventually get above this red line and then maybe continue to the upside for DOT. So we'll have to see how that goes. Next, I have ADA, Cardano. A lot of people love Cardano. And I mean, I don't have much to say here. I haven't dove into it too much here, but this green horizontal support line, you can see I'm on the 4-hour chart. And if I really zoom out and go back, look left as you're supposed to do, right? Zoom out, look left. These wicks are respecting the shit out of this trend line. You can see that it's a very clear line of interest, both as resistance and support a little bit. Mostly resistance, but the fact that we are above it and still so far respecting it as a bit of a support flip is good to see. Doesn't seem like we have a whole bunch of juice left in the tank from the bulls here, but we'll have to see. That's just another altcoin I'm holding, and as I mentioned, I've been holding it for a while, and I just kind of added to my position. I just like the project, like the team involved. A lot of hype around this coin as well, so that's just one that I also want to hang on to. Last coin I'm going to look at is Ocean, and this, just like Cardano and DOT, I am looking at it versus the BTC chart. And you guys know I pointed this out last night. We had 1 touch point, 2 touch point, 3 touch points. I'm even going to consider that 4, and then getting our close above and respecting the resistance as a new bit of a support flip. As well, this green horizontal resistance, you can see here that we're respecting that as a support flip so far. This was one that I was pretty excited to jump on because just looking for reasons to get into altcoins. This is at least some sort of technicals here that are telling me that there's potential for a bigger move coming. Whether it continues to outperform Bitcoin like the last few days, I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But from a technical perspective, things look pretty good right there, in my opinion. So that's just something that I want to keep in my bag of hodl. So other than that, if we do continue pumping to the upside, I would once again would not be surprised to see a bit of resistance along this purple trend line, just because it would make perfect sense to end up getting our 3rd touch point, right, guys? I'll zoom right into the 15-minute chart, because this was another one that I had mentioned on my Twitter, and once again I was kind of looking like it was wanting to take off. I believe when I posted about it, we were somewhere. I believe we were right around here, testing this green box as a little bit of a double bottom from back here. So I was just kind of thinking that it might be making another move to the upside. Obviously, looks like we dropped and are now even respecting this green resistance box as a bit of, or what was a support box, flipping into a bit of a resistance box. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Just from a shorter time frame, this is totally freestyle, guys, but just trying to connect some dots here. You can see here we only got 2 touch points and then a fake out, so I'm not going to consider that a valid trend line. Maybe if we get something like that, we got our 3 touch points. So we'll have to see if Ocean can get above this line and then test it as a support flip and carry on to the upside from there. Obviously none of this has to happen, and obviously none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research and form your own opinions. Again, I'm not trading these altcoins right now. I'm just looking at them for my own amusement because I haven't held altcoins in a while, and I feel like I may as well dive in and take a peek and see if you guys agree with my analysis, disagree with my analysis. Hope if you guys happen to hold these coins, maybe you're just interested in seeing what I have to say, let me know in the comments down below. I know I'm not going too much into detail with these altcoins. I'm mainly still going to be analyzing Bitcoin and Ethereum, but just once in a while I'll switch things up for you guys. So let me know what you think about that. If you do appreciate this content, be sure to smash that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you see any videos, I know some of my more macro analysis videos seem to have a little more traction to them. If you guys think there's a lot of valuable information there, if you don't know what I'm talking about, specifically the video down in my description below, my more macro analysis, that was actually, I think that was a couple months ago, but I'm still sticking to my view on the Bitcoin market as far as that video goes, so check it out if you haven't before. And yeah, share some of my videos if you guys have any friends who are into any of these coins, or just want to learn a little more about technical analysis. I know I look at very small time frames on a lot of my videos, but I just love to be an active trader. Some of these are just day trade setups and that sort of stuff. So keep that in mind, that if I'm looking at something bullishly on a 15-minute chart, it doesn't mean that's the bottom forever and that we're only going up from there, right? These are very micro patterns that I'm looking at half the time. So anyways, guys, one last time, smash that thumbs up and subscribe, and that's all I have to say for you guys. You guys are free. Stay safe, my friends. Let me know what you think down below, and with that, I'm out. Stay safe. Peace.